Nigeria is another country in that region of Africa, although it's a different culture, different people group. Yayuba Bazel Yuala, he is second in command under Bishop John Wesley Yohana. He just put out a statement yesterday. The High Court in Jalingo, Taraba State, on July 15, 2024, has issued its ruling on the lawsuit brought by Reverend Ande Emmanuel. You remember that name? If you don't, I'll tell you about him in a minute. And others against Bishop Yohana and the Incorporated Trust of the UMC in Nigeria Episcopal area. The court has dismissed the case and awarded a fine of 300,000. What I forget what the monetary units are there. Naira, 300,000 to be paid by Ande and others. So this is good news. Ande Emmanuel has been commanding lots of attention for a long time. He has put himself forward as an Episcopal candidate for consideration there for some time. He has like a Facebook page dedicated to it. He does these live streams where he updates Africans on how and I just think he's a delusional person. His understanding of reality is very warped. He overlaps enough with reality so that he can work with institutional people in the U.S. who want to interfere in what's going on in Nigeria. He's been leading a rebellion against their bishop. He's been in the north for a couple of years now, and got like a third of the bishop's area just turned against him. And then he just he elevated himself at General Conference several times as a would-be leader. But the problem is he's just routinely bellicose and disingenuous. He supposedly, at one of these more recent gatherings at the Nigeria Annual Conference, brought thugs with knives to disrupt things, and the police got involved. There's a whole long history of antagonism between him and Bishop Yohana and Yayuba Bazel, and I don't understand all the fullness of it. How people who are there don't understand all the fullness of it. But Ande Emmanuel has filed court cases against the bishop and conference staff, publicly trying to take the reins of power from him, and their judicial branch has gotten involved. Of course, they've been welcome to, and decided against Ande Emmanuel, said that he doesn't have grounds for the lawsuit, and it is so annoying now that he has to pay money for bothering them with all about it. So it's, I think, a good development. I think Western forces did want to work with Ande Emmanuel, but he just turns out being crazy and delusional. So they're just not going to mess with him. Who knows who their next bishop is going to be, but I don't even know that Ande could take the helm. I don't know that people would have him. That's a challenge for another day. And it remains to be seen how Nigeria is going to break up, if they can take all of their assets with them, or if they're going to have to start something new entirely, and that someone just gets to inherit all these buildings and the wreckage of what's left behind. So we'll see. I learned recently, Kenya, Ethiopia, remember, they insisted on leaving out of hand, and their bishop, Wandabula, he let them go. I thought they could leave with all their buildings and assets intact, but I was wrong. I've heard from a couple people now who've said that they had to leave their buildings and assets behind and start over afresh, just like a lot of communities had to in America, which is really unfortunate. So just because things are more direct in Africa does not mean that they're easier. And in fact, in a lot of ways, things are much harder on the African continent for United Methodists and people trying to get clear of the United Methodist Church and maintain their faith. So it'll be very important to continue praying, not just for the Liberians, but for the Nigerians, the Kenyans and Ethiopians, and many other people groups caught in this mix that are, I was going back and forth with the liberal clergy writing me this week going, oh, they're still all on board with us. And I'm going, we're going to need to wait and see on this. A lot of them still don't know what's going on. They're trying to spread good information. But, you know, those bishops over there sometimes don't like people spreading information. So keep them in your prayers.